This is Tino with MusicUCanSee. We're at Winter NAMM in Anaheim, California. I'm with Leland Sklar, probably the largest bass player that I've ever stood next to. Responsible for the California sound, I would say. Can I go back to the Doors? Can you tell us a little bit?
Well, the thing was, I did an album, I forget what it was called, like Full Moon or something like that. It was after Jim Morrison passed away.
But they were already going to add a bass player while he was living.
I had heard that they had discussed that because Ray usually did everything with that Fender. When they recorded, they used a lot of bass, but they'd never toured with a bass player. So they called me, and that was kind of the heyday of all of the recording in this town. I mean, it was really the golden age, as far as I'm concerned, of my generation. And it was so much fun to go in there because I used to see the Doors all the time in the 60s playing on Sunset Strip and stuff. So to suddenly be in the studio with Krieger and Manzarek, and it was fabulous. I loved it.
And that was your start. And then
it was really early.
And it just launched you from there. And then, I mean, a lot of artists, I mean, I know you worked with Toto recently.
Yeah.
Michael W. Smith, Second Chapter of Acts.
Yeah.
You have a catalog of just...
I love all genres, so that's really the kind of fun part of it is being able to do country records, do contemporary Christian records, do hip-hop records, do pop, rock and roll. I love all of it. I mean, one day I did like Streisand one day, and then the next day you're in doing, Vince Gill or something like that.
Wow.
It's fun, man. I've been doing this like 50 years now, and I'm as excited today as I was the first day I walked in the studio. And being at the NAMM show is always great. I get to see all my old friends here and hang out and stuff.
And you play Warwick. You want to talk about your endorsement?
Well, I have a signature model that we just finished with Warwick. They have a bass that I've been using for the past couple of years called a Star bass, and they proposed doing a signature one. I said, well, let's call it a Sklar bass. And Hans Peter went crazy.
Right.
I have a signature model 5-string with Dingwall, and so I didn't want to do anything that was in conflict with either company. So when I need a 5-string, I use my Dingwall, and when I'm using a 4-string, I use my Warwick. And in the studio, I've got an old bass I call Frankenstein because we assembled it back in like '74.
And you're still using it today?
And that's still my go-to bass in the studio. So, I always look at it like, everybody goes, well, this guy's like, he'll endorse anything. I don't do that. There's very few things. But I always look at it like when an electrician or a plumber comes to your house, he's got some Ryobi tools, he's got some, Milwaukee tools. You use the tool that's best for the job, and there's no one company that makes everything.
Right.
So, I've got different rigs for different obligations and stuff like that. And I just try to do right by everybody on it. Nice. I don't endorse anything I don't use.
And what's real impressive is you're an artist that is actually there at the booth.
Oh God, this is important. This is important. I mean, to me, it's a relationship.
Right.
And it's a relationship that they value and I value. And then the people who, like, I would hate to have somebody buy a bass with my name on it and have it be a piece of crap. So I want to make sure that what I'm putting my name on is something I would use every day.
Complete quality.
And if it's not, then I don't want to be involved in it. And I say, don't release it, don't do it.
So just like the projects you're involved with, it starts with the equipment.
Well, it starts with the equipment. Really, I mean, for most of the projects, it all really comes down to the songs, the artists, the concept of it. The equipment is a tool. I mean, I think it was attributed to Chet Atkins, where he was doing a gig and sitting there playing, and some guy came up to him and said, man, that guitar is unbelievable. I've never heard anything like it. And he goes, thank you. Guy goes away. A couple of tunes later, he comes back and goes, I have to really compliment you. That's one of the most beautiful instruments I've ever heard. And when Chet saw him coming towards him the third time, he put it in the stand. He said, how's it sound now?
Yeah, very cool.
Because that's
absolutely.
The instrument's just a tool.
Right, and then the way you attack it.
Yeah, it's how you make that yours, and that's where the music comes from. Right. It's not, the piece of equipment's not going to make any music just sitting there.
And that same equipment, no two artists can make it sound the same.
No, that's the beauty of this.
Right.
This is really, this is not like having a car that's just come off the assembly line, and the one behind it and the one before it are pretty darn near the same, except for color and maybe upholstery. But instruments in the hands of each person is a completely different thing. So, you know, you can't use gear to sound like somebody. You know,
right.
Because you're never going to, even if you have the identical rig, you're not going to sound like them.
Right.
Even if you're doing a tribute band,
sure,
it's not the same.
Currently, what are you doing? What are you working on?
I'm working with a girl named Judith Owen, who's an amazing singer-songwriter pianist. She's a Welsh singer. She's married to Harry Shearer, who was Derek Smalls in Spinal Tap, and he does most of the voices on The Simpsons. The two of them together, there's a dynamic that's incredible.
Wow.
But Judith is kind of like if you took like Joni and Carole King and all of that ilk and then put them on steroids.
Wow.
It would be Judith. She's a magnificent artist. So we're getting ready, actually, Monday. We were in Europe for 3 months doing promo for the release of her new album in Europe. It comes out in the States on March 3rd. So starting on Monday, we're doing a promo tour to start getting launching for that. And then we're going to be out opening for Brian Ferry on his American tour.
Really?
And then as soon as that ends, I start rehearsing with Phil Collins for his tour. And in between all that, I'm doing some stuff for the Grammy show, and I'm doing a Flower Power cruise to Jamaica with a bunch of old '60s English artists and stuff. So it's fun. Every day there's some new adventure.
You've been blessed and so fortunate.
Oh, I feel lucky as hell every day.
Yeah, when I Wikipedia'd you, I was like, wow, this is the biggest bass player I think alive.
Well, I'm really proud to be a part of that community. You know, to me, it's not a contest. So,
right.
You know, I mean, when people start saying, oh, you've recorded more, I said, I've had a great run, and I know other guys. You know, I mean, when I sit there and look at Carol Kay, and I look at Chuck Rainey, and I look at Joe Osborne, and all these things,
right.
Just to be a part of that community,
Right.
like the new Bass Player magazine just came out, and it's got the 100 greatest bass players in it. I was thrilled to see my face in there, but I'm looking at everybody else, because just to be a part of that fraternity is great. And then I'm looking at that 100, and I'm going, there's another 1,000 that are as good as everybody on that page, as far as I'm concerned, that don't get it. So there's all kinds of things that come into play. I walk around this show and I see guys that are absolute monsters, and you go, man, I wish you the best. I really hope your talent's there. It's the luck of the moment. You know, meeting the right person at the right time can change your entire life.
Yeah.
So you got to be tenacious and have fun.
Well, Lee, thank you. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. This is Tino, Leland Sklar. We're at NAMM, Winter NAMM, Anaheim, California.
Pleasure.